Hi, and welcome to another episode of Reach Higher Thursdays. I'm Nikki Devitt, president of the Petoskey Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited today to be joined by Chief Matt Breed of Petoskey Public Safety. Chief Breed, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit before we get to the questions about your background. Where'd you go to school?
Well, hello, Nikki, and thank you for having me here. I'm originally from Northern Michigan. I grew up in Onaway, went to high school in Onaway. Actually, let me clarify, Millersburg is where I grew up. Graduated from Onaway High School and then went to Lake Superior State University for a degree in criminal justice.
So, and I'm sure this question for you will be different than most of our interviewees, but what does a typical day of work look like for you?
I don't think there really are typical days in law enforcement and firefighting, because here in Petoskey, we do public safety, police, fire, and EMS. So when we come to work, we may be doing responsibilities in any one of those fields. It used to be that a typical day for me was to get all my gear together and get in a patrol car and have my fire gear with me. As I've worked my way through my career, I have found that now I drive a desk more often than I drive a car or a fire truck. So there's a lot of administrative, but we have a very good team here of the officers. So it makes my job easier. So a typical day would see me doing mostly administrative work, liaisoning with members of the community. It's imperative that we have good relationships with our community. That's what we're about. And then on priority calls, I leave my desk and I go out and help on the road or at a fire scene.
Excellent.
Typical day.
Never a typical day then, especially as you said, like in law enforcement, never a typical day. So
correct. There is no routine patrol.
No.
Not exist.
What about, let's talk about this. So if you could maybe give advice to your high school self, what would that be?
I think the best advice is to set realistic goals and then do everything you can to achieve those goals. Those goals are simply steps in your life. Set your goals. If you're thinking about a certain career path, set certain goals that are attainable and always push forward on those goals. Even on bad days that you struggle, keep those goals in mind. Those goals will help drive you through, and you reach goals, then you set new goals. I think
excellent.
It's imperative.
Great advice. How about the skills that are most important in the job you do today? What would those skills be?
Without a doubt, the most important skill is communication. There is a very common phrase at critical incident scenes, whether it's police, fire, EMS. If you have a problem, your first problem is going to be in communications. People don't understand. I'll carry that right through to the administrative aspect. We have to communicate clearly with the members in our community, those people we serve. A breakdown in communication leads to a breakdown in the interaction. So I would say communication. Then in this career, you would move that on to the knowledge base you have about law enforcement, firefighting, EMS, and that's always attained through training and experience. We do a lot of training. Training is ongoing. Things constantly change, and we have to change with the times, change with the procedures, the protocols. There's a lot of change in law enforcement these days.
So adaptability and continuing education would also be important skill sets.
See, there is your higher level of communication. Very well.
So if a student wants to pursue a career like yours, what advice do you give them? How do they start?
Come see us. Find out what it is that we do. If you think you have an interest, come see us and do a ride along. Spend a little time with us. We can do that. We enjoy that. If you have that interest, we'd like to nurture that interest. We have a cadet program here that are their summer cadets. Typically, they're criminal justice students. If you as a high school student have an interest, come see me. I will set you up with an officer and you can go ride in the car. Get that firsthand feel for what it is we do and decide, is this for me? Maybe it is. Maybe you didn't ever think it was for you, and then you try it and realize maybe it is for me. Or on the flip side, maybe you decide this isn't quite the path that I want to take. But the option's open.
That's an excellent option. And that is something that is even more enhanced because we are in the community we are in, where you can have that opportunity to take an inside look at something in a career or possible that interests you, just like public safety. So that invitation is excellent. And as we do with these, we'll make sure your contact information is available to students. And thank you for your time today very much. Thank you, Chief Breed.
Thank you, Nikki. Take care.
Take care.